Hello guys, my name is Prince and this is Math Center. Subscribe to my YouTube channel for more videos. Post your comments and questions on my social media handles and I'll respond to it. We are on the topic linear equations and linear inequalities, but we are concentrating on linear equations for now. In the previous video, we learned how to solve linear equations that involve brackets. In this video, we are going to learn how to solve linear equations that involve fractions. So how do you solve linear equations that involve fractions? Type 4, linear equations involving fractions. When you have linear equations that involve fractions, the first thing you need to do is to clear the fractions by multiplying each term by the LCM of the denominators. So what you do is that you first have to identify the fractions in the equation. Now after you've identified the fractions, you must find the LCM of the denominators. You've learned how to find LCM of numbers. So you must find LCM of the denominators. Now after you find the LCM of the denominators, you multiply each term. Take note of this. You multiply each term in the equation by the LCM and that will clear the fraction. So you multiply each term in the equation by the LCM of the denominators. Now, after you've done that, you cancel out the common factors. When you cancel out the common factors, you clear all the fractions. After that, what do? Expand the brackets if there are any. Sometimes the question already have a bracket. Sometimes too, you have to introduce the bracket as a result of some multiplication that you do. You will learn what all this means in the examples that you take. So whatever it is, when you have brackets, after you've cancelled out the common factors, you expand the brackets. After you've expanded the brackets, you group like terms and you simplify. Let's pick some examples and see how we can apply the steps that we've learned in this slide. So solve for x in the following. We have been given 5 questions, so you take them one after the other. The first one is 1 over 5 into bracket 3x plus 4 is equal to 2. So the first step you need to do is to first identify the fractions in the equation. In this equation, we have only one fraction, which is 1 over 5. So in this equation, the only fraction we have is 1 over 5. Now the denominator of the fraction is 5. So here, because we have only one fraction, we are going to find LCM of 5, the least common multiple of 5, which will be 5 because we have only one fraction. So the LCM will be the denominator of that fraction that we have. Hope that is clear. Because here the only fraction in this equation is 5, the LCM is going to be 5. So we have the LCM to be 5. Now after you found the LCM to be 5, the next thing you need to do is to identify the terms in the equation. The terms in the equation. So when you come here, you see that everything here is together. Everything here is together. So it means that this whole thing here is one term. This one here is also another term. So we have 2 terms in this equation. Because everything here is together, it's not separated by a minus sign or a positive sign. 1 over 5 and what is in the bracket here is multiplying. So this whole thing here is one term. 2 here is also another term. So what you do is that you multiply each term by the LCM that we found. The LCM we found was 5. So you multiply what is the whole thing here by 5 and you multiply 2 by also 5. So 5 times everything here, which is one term. So 1 over 5 into bracket 3x plus 4, then is equal to 5 times the term we have here, so 2 times 5. Now after you finish with this, the point is that we should cancel out common factors. We can see clearly from here that 5 will cancel itself 1 and cancel 5 1. So you see we've cancelled out this. Now after you've done the cancellation, you see that you clear the fractions away. Now after this cancellation, you can see we are going to have, so here is 1 This one will give us 1 over 1, which is also 1. So you are going to have 1 times 1 over 1 here is 1. Then what we have in the bracket, 3x plus 4. 2 times 5 will give us 10. Now, 1 times 1 will give us 1. 1 times what is in the bracket will give us the same thing in the bracket, which is 3x plus 4. So I hope that is clear. So 1 times 1 here is 1. That 1 times what is in the bracket is the same thing. Any number times 1 is the same number. So 3s plus 4 times 4, all of them times 1 will give us 3s plus 4. So we are going to have 3s plus 4 is equal to 10. From here, we can group like terms. We've done a lot of this. So we are going to have 3s is equal to 10 minus 4. Since 4 is positive here, when it crosses, it becomes negative. So 3x will give us 6. We divide both sides by 3, and x will give us 2. So once again, you look for the fractions. You look for the LCM of the denominators of the fractions. You multiply each term by the LCM. You cancel out. You expand the brackets. Then you group like terms and simplify. Let's take another example. So here, let's look for the fractions. We have two fractions here. We have 3x over 2, 5x over 3. So these are the two fractions that we have. So look for the denominators of the fractions. So here, the denominators of the fractions are 2 and 3. Now look for the LCM of the denominators. So it means that we are looking for the LCM of 2 and 3. We know that the LCM of 2 and 3 is 6. So the LCM that we found is 6. Now after you found the LCM to be 6, the next thing you need to do is to identify the terms in the equation. The terms in the equation. Now we can see from here that 3x over 2 here is on its own. Then we have minus here. Then 5x over 2. So 3x over 2 is being separated from 5x over 3 here by the negative sign. So it means that 3x over 2 here is one term. 5x over 3 here is another term. Then 1 is also another term. I hope that is clear. So 3x over 2 is one term. 5x over 3 is one term. And 1 is also another term. Now what do we do with the LCM that we found? Multiply each term by the LCM. So we are going to have 6 times 3x over 2. So if you multiply this term by the LCM, which is 6. Now when you come here, you multiply this term also by the LCM. So minus, we bring the LCM, which is 6, times this term, which is 5x over 3. When you come here, you multiply this term also by the LCM. So 1 times 6 here. I hope that is clear. Now, let's move on. We cancel out. After you multiply each term by the LCM, you cancel out. So it means that 2 will cancel itself 1 and cancel 6. We know that that will be 3. 3 will cancel itself 1 and cancel 6 2 times. 2 times. Then 1 times 6. Because they are multiplying, we can't cancel anything out. So we are going to have 3 times 3x, then minus 3 cancel itself 1, cancel 6 2 times. So we have 2 times the numerator here, which is 5x, is equal to 1 times 6. So you see, we have been able to clear the fractions. So here we do the multiplication. 3 times 3x will give us 9x. Minus 2 times 5x will give us minus 10x. 1 times 6 is 6. So we have 6 here. Now you can see from here that we don't have brackets. So we will not concern ourselves with the brackets first. We don't have brackets. So we straight away move on and simplify. Once again, the like terms has also been grouped for us. So all that we need to do is to just simplify. 9x minus 10x will give us minus x. And this will give us 6. Remember, the question told us to find x, solve for x, not solve for minus x. So in order to find x, we divide both sides by minus 1. Because the number attached to x here is 1. So we divide both sides by minus 1. And x is going to give us. So here, the negative will cancel negative. X divided by 1 is 1. 6 divided by minus 1 is minus 6. Hope that is clear. We move on to the next example. We have 2x minus 1 over 3 over 3 minus x minus 2 over 4 is equal to 1. So the first thing you need to do is to identify the fractions. The fractions are 2x minus 1 over 3 and 4x minus 2 over 4. So after you identify the fraction, look for the denominators of the fractions. The denominators are 3 and 4. Then find the LCM of the denominators. So you find LCM of 3 and 4. And when you do that, you know that the LCM is 12. Now I'm going to show you a trick. If you are finding it difficult finding the LCM, don't worry. Just multiply the denominators. So multiply 3 by 4 and use it at the LCM. So if you multiply 3 by 4, you are going to get 12. Okay, so after you find the LCM, you multiply each term in the equation by the LCM. So when you come here, 2x minus 1 over 3 is one term. We have the negative sign here, so x minus 2 over 4 is also another term. Then 1 is also another term. So terms in an equation are separated by a negative or positive sign. So this whole thing here is being separated by a negative sign, which means that this one here is one term. Then the minus sign will come. This whole thing here is also another term. Then this one is also another term. So you multiply each term by the LCM. What is the LCM? 12. So you are going to multiply 2x minus 1 over 3 by 12. You multiply x minus 2 over 4 by 12. And you multiply 1 by 12. We cancel out. 3 will cancel itself out 1 and cancel 12 here 4 times. 4 will cancel itself 1 and cancel 12 3 times. So you are going to have 4 times. Now because what we have on the numerator here is a binomial, we have two terms. We learned in algebraic expressions that whenever you have a single term multiplying two terms, you have to put the two terms in a bracket. So because what we have here are two terms, 2x and minus 1, we will put them in a bracket. Then we will bring the single term, which is 4, outside the bracket. So we have 4 into bracket 2x minus 1. When you come here, 4 will cancel itself 1 and cancel 12 3 times. So we are going to have 3 times x minus 2. But because we have what we have here, which is x minus 2, is a binomial, you are going to put that in a bracket. Binomial is an expression with two terms. So because we have x and minus 2, this is a binomial, you put that in a bracket. When you come here, you have 1 times 12, which is 12. So we have a bracket here. So we can see from here that the question did not have a bracket, but we had to introduce the bracket so that we'll be able to solve the question. Okay, so we have the bracket here, so we expand the bracket. 4 times 2x will give us 8x. 4 times minus 1 will give us minus 4. 3 times x minus 3 times x will give us minus 3x. Minus 3 times minus 2 will give us positive 6 is equal to 12. So here we group like terms. 8x and minus 3x are like terms. Minus 4, 6 and 12 are also like terms. Now we group them. So I'm going to have 8x then minus 3x. They are all already here, so I'm not going to transfer them. So I'll rather transfer the numbers to this side. I have 12 here. So if I transfer minus 4 from this side to this side, it becomes positive 4. If I transfer positive 6 from this side to this side, it becomes negative 6. 8x minus 3x will give us 5x. 12 plus 4 will give us 16. 16 minus 6 will give us 10. We divide both sides by 5 and x will give us 2. Let's move on. We have 1 over 4 into bracket x plus 1 minus 1 over 2 into bracket x plus 2 plus x is equal to 3 whole number 1 over 4. Now, whenever you have a question like this with a mixed number or mixed fraction in it, the first thing you need to do is to convert the mixed fraction or mixed number into an improper fraction. So that's the first thing we need to do. So we have 1 over 4 to bracket x plus 1 minus 1 over 2 into bracket 2 plus x is equal to, you convert 3 whole number 1 over 4 to an improper fraction, and that will give us 13 over 4, because 4 times 3 is 12. 12 plus 1 is 13. So 13 divided by 4. If you want to understand how this is done, watch the video on converting converting mixed numbers or mixed fractions to improper fraction under fractions, and you understand this very well. So we now have all of them here in fractions form. So what you do is that you look for the fractions. The fractions are 1 over 4, 1 over 2, and 13 over 4. Then you look at the denominators, which are 4, 2, and 4. You look for the LCM of the denominators. So the LCM of 4, 2, and 4 is 4. So that is the LCM that you are going to use. The LCM you are going to use here is 4. Once again, if you are finding it difficult finding the LCM, multiply the denominators. 4 times 2 times 4. Then the value that you get, use that value as the LCM. After you simplify, you are going to get the same answer. It is always easier to find the LCM, but if you are finding it difficult, just multiply the denominators and use it as the LCM. So here I'm going to use the LCM, which is 4. Multiply each term by the LCM. Now here, what are the terms here? This whole thing here is one term. 1 over 4 into bracket s plus 1 here is one term. When you come here, you see we have a negative sign here. So it means that 1 over 2 into bracket 2 plus s is also another term. So terms in the equation are separated by the negative sign or positive sign. So everything here is together one term. Everything here is also together one term. Then 13 over 4 is also together. So that's also another term. So what you do is that you multiply each term by the LCM. So you multiply this term here by 4. You multiply this term here by 4. You multiply this term here by 4. Then you cancel out. So 4 will cancel 4. 2 will cancel itself 1 and cancel 4 2 times. 4 will cancel 4. So we are going to have, when 4 cancels 4, we are going to get 1. 1 times 1 will give us 1. So 1 into bracket s plus 1. 2 will cancel itself 1. Then we are going to have 2 cancel 4 2 times. So here is going to be 2. So we are going to have minus 2 times the numerator here, which is 1, and that will give us minus 2. Remember, here is already 1. So any number divided by 1 is the same number. So minus 2. Then we bring our bracket 2 plus x is equal to 13. So you see in this question, the question had the bracket. In the previous example, we had to introduce the bracket. So here, because we have a bracket here, you expand the bracket. 1 times any number is the same number. So 1 times s plus 1 will give us s plus 1. When you come here, minus 2 times 2 will give us minus 4. Minus 2 times x will give us minus 2x. Then we have this is equal to 13. We group like terms. So x and minus 2x are like terms. Because they are already on the left hand side here, I'm going to keep them there. So I have s minus 2x is equal to, I have this first term here, which is 13. So I will transfer all the numbers to this side. So positive 1, when it comes here, it becomes negative 1. Negative 4, when it comes here, it becomes positive 4. Now, x minus 2x, we've seen that this will give us minus x. From algebra, we know that s is the same as 1s. So, x here is the same as 1s. So, if you have 1x minus 2x, we are going to have minus 1 because 1 minus x, because 1 minus 2 give us minus 1. So, we are going to have minus x. Then, 13 minus 1 will give us 12. 12 plus 4 will give us 16. So minus x is equal to 16. The question told us to find x, not minus x. So you divide both sides by x. And when you do that, you divide both sides by minus 1, sorry. And when you do that, x will give us minus 16. Let's consider the last example here. We have 1 over 3 into bracket 2x minus 1 minus 4 over 9 into bracket 3x minus 2 into bracket minus 1 over 9. So once again, you look at the fractions. The fractions are 1 over 4, 1 over 3, 4 over 9, 1 over 9. Then you look at the denominators. The denominators are 3, 9, and 9. You look for the LCM of the denominators. The LCM of 3, 9, and 9 is 9. So you multiply each term by the LCM. So you multiply each term by 9. You know that this is one term. This is 1/10, then this is also 1/10. So we multiply the first term by 9, the second term by 9, and the last term also by 9. We cancel out. 3 will cancel itself 1 and cancel 9 3 times. So we are going to have 3 times 1, which is 3. Then we bring the brackets. So we bracket 2x minus 1. 9 will cancel itself 1 and cancel 9 1 time. So we are going to have 1 times 4. Remember, we already have negative here, so that's going to give us negative 4 into brackets. We bring the bracket. We bring what is in the bracket, which is 3x minus 2. 9 will cancel itself 1 and cancel 9 1. So we are going to have minus 1 times 1, which will give us minus 1. From here, we expand the brackets. So we are going to have 3 times 2x, which will give us 6x. 3 times minus 1 will give us minus 3. Minus 4 times 3x will give us minus 12x. Minus 4 times minus 2 will give us positive 8 is equal to negative 1. We group like terms. So we are going to have 6x minus 12x is equal to, I'll transfer all the numbers to this side. So I already have minus 1 here. So when I take negative 3 to this side, it becomes positive 3. If I take positive 8 from here to this side, it becomes negative 8. 6x minus 12x will give us minus 6x. Minus 1 plus 3 will give us 2. 2 minus 8 is minus 6. We divide both sides by minus 6 and x is giving us 1. Thank you for watching this video on linear equations. We've considered all the 4 types of linear equations. So you should be able to solve any linear equation at this point. To help you, pick more examples and try your hands on it. In this video, we considered just 4 examples. There are a lot of examples that you can try your hands on it. So pick more examples and try your hands on them. If you have any problems, interact with me on my social media handles and I'll help you to do it. In the next video, we are going to learn how to solve practical problems that require the use of linear equations. Bye bye.